Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to our next video in our dotCMS playlist. In the previous video, you have already seen that we have finalized our hero section, which is coming from dotCMS via all those REST and GraphQL APIs. And in this video, we'll be targeting our next content type, which will be our this statistics bar right over here, which will be displaying all the statistics of our portfolio. So without wasting our time, let's start the video. But before that, let's roll the intro. Okay, so now at this point, you already know the drill, right? Go and just create the content type in .cms, then go and create the content lit, which will be the data of that content type. And once you have content lit ready, just drag and drop that onto the page. And once that is done, you will not be having your React component for entering that content type. Then just go and get your hands dirty with the code. And that's how you render content coming headlessly from .cms. So let's go to our I would say .cms right over here, and let's go into our schema, into our content types, and let's go and create a new content type. I will this time call it as like stats bar, maybe something like this. And for icon, let me just see if there is an icon related to bar chart. So yeah, this should work fine for that. And for description inside, I'll just go with the default one and just create the stuff. Once you have your content type ready, let's drop some field. Right now, I don't know what data will be coming right now. So just for entering the stuff, I will just for now just keep a empty text area, maybe something like this with the name of test. Okay, because I'm not concerned right now with the data, but I'm just right now concerned with how that content is being displayed. So that's really the field for now, and just mark it as required, and let's save this stuff. Okay, and that's how I like to do stuff while working with the new content type. Once that is done, all you have to do is just come to the menu, say add to menu, and I will be placing this inside my content menu right over here in shape of list. Once you add the stuff, so this is added, and now you can go to your content section right over here, and you can see the stats bar right over here. And once you have your stats bar over here, just click on add new content, and for title I will just provide a random title, maybe like test, and let's publish this stuff. Once that is published, you know the drill. Just go to the page, add new row, and drop the content over there. So we have our new I would say content lit of type status bar. Let's go to our strat manager now, into our pages and into our home page. This is what our strats look like. But now we're just going into our layout, and we know that beside this row I'll be adding another row right over here, which will be, I would say, displaying our that stats bar. So let's make it full width, because we know that our content will be taking the full width of the screen. So that's from our layout sections. And now what we can do is we can just come over here. We can see our container is empty. All we have to do is to just come over here and drop this stuff right over here. And that's obvious. We are not having our React component for our stats bar. So let's go and get our hands dirty with the code. Okay, so now let's go into our terminal right over here, and let's go into our Next.js app. Let me just quit my terminal, and over here, if you just go into my hero section component on which we have been working a lot, you remember that I've just commented those sections which were available right over here. So this was our bottom status bar right over here, which is, I would say, the layout right over here, which we copied from our wipe coded site. So this is the, I would say, this content right over here. So just go over here. Let me just copy the whole stuff over here. And once we copy this, let me just copy stuff from here, and then we can open our file explorer and just create a new, I would say, content type, and this time it's our stats bar.tsx. Just come over here, and then I can just say export, and then function, and then I can call it like stats bar, and then I will just come over here. I will say return, and then I will just paste the stuff right over here, and let me just go and uncomment all these things right over here. And once you uncommit and save the stuff, you can see right over here. Let me just format it a little bit better, and this is how this looks like. So this is what your stats bar look like once you have your content ready, which is your, I would say, React component. Once you have that ready, all you have to do is to just come to your index.ts, which is your old drill, just duplicate the stuff, and this time it will be stats bar, and just come over here and call this as stats bar right over here, which will be imported from the same directory. And once that is done, this is where the real magic will happen. So now if you come to your Chrome, and if you just go to your localhost home and just refresh the stuff and scroll down, you can see right over here, you are getting the same status bar right over here. So now it's time to go and bring all these values from our .cms according to our own needs by changing the schema of the content type of a states bar according to the content data, which is right over here. So let's start the proceedings. Okay, so now if you just come to my terminal over here, and if you just go to my stats bar, you can see that the data this component is expecting is in sort of an array of type JSON, in which I will be having my number, I would say key, and then I will be having my label key. And I would say for designing this stuff, you can go and use the JSON field value, which is present in your content types schema. So let's come to our Chrome right over here. Let's go to our content types, and I will be deleting this one, which is our test for now. And I will just drop my JSON field thing right over here, which will take the data as in JSON input. And that is what we want for this, I would say, React component, which is our stats bar. And I will call it as like maybe stats data. And let me just give a hint over here. Maybe this should be in the format of an object, something like this, maybe. Or you know what? I guess I can just copy the current data, which is in my our React components. Let me just copy this stuff from here. I will just copy it in this shape, maybe. And let's go over here. Let me just copy it and then come over here and paste it like this. And then I will just go to my first line and I will open my maybe like curly brackets. And then I will say data, and data should be in this format. And at the end, I will be just closing my JSON, something like this. And that is just giving the hint to the user that what type of JSON we're expecting, right? Now, once that is done, I will mark this as required and let's save this. And once that is done, we are good to go. So now all you have to do is to just come to your content and into your stats bar. And over here, just click on these three dots and edit the stuff. And this is now how the form looks like. So let's toggle our editor and let's prepare our JSON. For that, I will just open a new tab and I will just maybe call it like JSON object to JSON converter. Let's find that. Let's see, this looks something like this. Now over here, I will be just pasting the object, which looks something like this. Maybe let's copy and paste it over here. And let me just go back and let me just call it like stats bar, which is something like this. And this might be expecting my curly brackets. So let's place one over here and one over here. And once you have done that, you get your data right over here, which is in JSON format. Let me just copy this stuff and let's go back to our data right over here and let's paste it right over here. And once you have done that, all you have to do is to just publish that stuff and you are good to go. So the content has been saved. Now all you have to do is to just accept the content in the props and you're good to go. Okay, so now let's just close the stuff over here and let's go to our terminal to get our hands dirty with the code. So let's design our interface, and then this will be our stats bar props, if I'm not wrong. And then we have to design our data structure. For that, let's come to our, I would say, schema into content tab stats bar. And this is what the stats data look like. So let's just copy it and paste it over here. And this will be of type object. We all know that. And let's verify our JSON structure. So for that, let's go into our content stats bar. And let me just edit this right over here. We know that we are having one object over here, which is stats bar, which is of an array type, right? So let's come over here. Let's call this as an stats bar, and this will be an object of an array type. So let me just do that. And this object will be having my number and label key value pairs, which are of type string. So it's like number, this is of string type. And then we will be having our label, which is also a string type. So let's save all this. So, and now all we have to do is to just come over here and let's destructure this, calling it like stats data. And over here, we can say are this stats bar props, and we are good to go. Now all we have to do is to just place the data right over here. So let me just delete the stuff from here. And this time I will just say, just delete it from here. And this time I will just say states data dot statespart dot map. And I guess we are good to go. Now, this is the moment of magic. So let's go to our Chrome and let me just close this over here. And let's go to our home page and let's refresh it. And if you just scroll down, you can see right over here that this time the data is coming from .cms in our home page. And for verifying this, all you have to do is to just come to your content tab right over here. Let's edit this stuff, and inside this, maybe like I want to change my years of engineering from 6 plus to maybe like 10 plus, and let's publish the stuff. And once that is published, all you have to do is to just come over here and refresh the thing. And right now you can see over here we are having our 10 plus year of engineering experience. And the good part is that this is an array, so you can just copy multiple values and it will appear on your front end side. So let's say if I want to duplicate the last object right over here, so let me just copy it and paste it over here. And let me just publish the stuff. And once that is published, let me just close it over here. If you just refresh this thing, you can see we are having our next section right underneath this. And now the good part is that once you have this thing ready, you can go and place this content anywhere on your page. So let's say if I just come into my .cms instance, into my pages, and let's say inside our test page, I want to drop that thing right over here. I can really do that. All I have to do is to just come to my stats bar. Let's just drag and drop it right over here, and the section appears right over here. And now if you publish this stuff right over here, once that is published, you can just come to your home page right over here, go to your test page. You can see the content right over here, which is, I would say, not styled nicely because this sticky bar is not working perfectly. So I think what I can do is, for the time saving, I can just come into my header component, and over here, or rather saying fixed, I will just remove this class because I don't want my header to be fixed. And right over here, you can see now this looks a lot more cooler. And by the way, I really don't like my all those sticky navigation bars. So yeah, that's it from, I would say, this video in which we have went one step further and designed our this content type, which looks a lot more cooler, I would say. So in the next coming on section, what we'll be doing is we'll be just jumping into our next about page right over here, which looks something like this. So a lot is coming. So just hop onto our playlist and learn more about .cms. And the good news is that we are done with our homepage for now. So see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.